When your life is falling apart, it can be truly devastating. You may find yourself being drowned by anxiety and panic attacks. You may start to lose hope and give up on your life. I have experienced this myself, and I understand that when we are so attached to the thing that define our lives, it could be our career, our relationships, money, and then we lose the thing that holds great significance to us. It can make us feel rather depressing at that moment. But what I learned from my experiences is that whenever I look back at a time when my life falls apart, it's always the best thing that happened to me. It's always a blessing in disguise. There is this sense of appreciation and gratitude, and I will not change any of it. I know when you're in a state of depression, anxiety, and fear, it is difficult to see past the loss that you're experiencing. But this is also an opportunity for you to wake up to a deeper dimension of yourself. You can either choose to suffer, or you can see this as a chance to start new, to start afresh, or to be creative with your life again. You know, many times when we try to change in the past, but we didn't dare or we didn't succeed, that is because of this attachment or structure that we have in place that is keeping us from changing. For example, you felt trapped in a job that didn't align with your soul, but you continue to do it because you think, how are your colleagues going to do without you? Or how are you going to support your family members? Or you can be in a relationship that is undesirable or doesn't resonate with you anymore, but you continue in the relationship. You don't dare to end the relationship because you depend on your partner for certain things, or you're afraid of being single again. Even though deep down inside, we don't want these things, we keep the status quo because it feels more familiar to us. If you find that everything in your life seems to be falling apart, there is a reason to this. The universe wipes away everything from your life to give you a clean state to start over. Our egoic minds prefer stability, comfort, and predictability. When there's something remaining from the past for us to hold on to, we may build our life based on what's remaining, and sometimes this may not be beneficial. Instead, what we truly needed is a total overhaul. It may be very scary at first because you have nothing to hold on to, but this is also a good time for you to re-examine your life and see what you truly want. When you are building your so-called life again, there's something you need to remember. It's the teaching of impermanence. Whatever thing that you use to define your new life, they are not going to last forever. Your body isn't going to last forever. Your career, you're not going to do it forever. And your relationships, someone will have to die eventually. Any physical thing that you use to define your new life will share the same quality of impermanence as those things that you define in your old life. So what's the point of building your life up again? The impermanence of life may cause some of us to be in such a state of despair, and we eventually give up on life completely. We may sink into depression, or what we call a dark night of the soul. We may also end up having an existential crisis and question the meaning and purpose of our life. Our life is like building a cut tower. Initially, we may build the tower to impress other people or to compete with them, to show them we can do it too. You have a car, I'll have a car too. You have a beautiful partner, I want to have a partner in my life too. So our ego builds our lives based on these things to look good in front of other people. Even though the cards keeps falling, we keep building because this is what we define as having a good life. And we will not stop until we reach our goals. However, the quality of your life isn't determined by how high the tower you build. You may feel happy for a while when you build the tower, but ultimately it will fall because this tower is built using playing cards. It's built on a shaky foundation. It's meant to fall apart. No matter how high you build or how impressive your tower is, no matter how well you protect it, it's still a cut tower, it's still fragile. One small wind and it will collapse. So why do people even build cut towers in the first place when they know that it will collapse eventually? That's because in the midst of building the cut tower, they develop patience. They learn how to focus on the present moment, and most importantly, it's fun. This may not even be your initial intention, but this is what you receive when you build a cut tower. You build your life not because it's going to stay permanent. You build your life because of what you have learned along the way. Every time you build a cut tower and it collapses, you expand a little more in your consciousness. You learn a little bit more about yourself. You build your life not because it's going to last forever. You build your life because it's fun. Playing cards are meant for playing. If the card tower isn't your thing anymore, you can do something else with the cards. It doesn't matter if you are using the playing cards to play a card game like blackjack or build a card tower. The important thing is having fun along the way. Your life is not meant to be taken so seriously. The quality of your life is determined by how much fun you have along the way, how loving you are, how free you feel. It's never determined by how high your tower is or what you have achieved. When our life falls apart, we're so afraid of building our lives back up again because we're so afraid that you'll collapse again, like the playing cards. But when we embrace impermanence, when we accept that all the identities that we have used to define ourselves have to be let go once we are no longer in this physical form, in this physical body, then this is when true freedom begins. This is when we can truly be ourselves and choose whatever persona or identity we want to become. This is where we become a creator. This is where we create. Perhaps the biggest mistake that we made is that we attach our so-called life to these playing cards. We define our lives with the form that this card can create, like the card tower. So wherever the form collapses, we feel the pain and suffering. But what life actually isn't the playing cards or the card tower. It's the invisible wind that is fluid, that is dynamic, that is ever-changing and full of energy. It's the invisible force that causes your card tower to collapse and fall apart in the first place. Once you fully understand this, you won't cling on to anything anymore because you will feel the pull between the wind and the thing that you're holding tightly to. You will be going against the wind. You will be going against life itself. When you are experiencing a rock bottom, it's an opportunity for spiritual awakening. Watch this next video to help you awaken.